host, CoachKamrul Hasan, founder of CKH Network. Today is the third tester session of Build Your Confidence on a Stage. If you really want to be a great and profound speaker, and that is what you are really aspiring, so this is the program for you. And we have been doing the last couple of weeks 30-minute tester session by Sabirul Islam from UK, the founder of Build Your Confidence on Stage. So today we're going to wrap up on this third tester session, and we're going to give you a flavor and how the course looks like end of the session. And you are most welcome to look for our actual session, which is we're going to offer during this month. So without further delay, we want to invite all of you to be into this space and stay there till the end of this session, because we're going to talk about the actual session structure today with you. And you can ask us the question as well, how the courses looks like, what would it give us the benefit? Am I able to improve my speaking? Am I able to improve the efficiency and impact and influence others? Do I get the the appreciation? Do I get the things that I want to communicate over, and people are receiving it, and profound impact I'm able to create? So these are the questions I had when I choose somebody to be trained, to get the training for. So hello and welcome everyone. Those who are joining with us, we see at least 19 people has jumped into with us tonight. Welcome everyone, and say hello to us. And we want some more to join with us before we begin the show tonight, because this is most important. This is the third session consecutively we're doing it. Tonight is the last session for you. So we want everybody to jump into with us with this free session. And please start, help others to be into this space. I want to request you to start, watch party. And if it is that, maybe a lot more people can get the notification as well, and they can be benefited out of it. How about it? I want to say hello to individually each and every one of you. Hello to everyone. And my request to all of you, jara ei muhurte shunchi, just please start watch party and share this episode to your friends and whom you want actually to get the benefit out of this session. I hope you're doing it, and we're looking forward next 30 minutes impactful session by the founder of Build Your Confidence on Stage, Sabirul Islam. Please help me to welcome Sabirul Islam for this third tester session tonight.
Hello there, Kamrul, and to everybody watching and tuned in to the Build Your Confidence on Stage taster session. This is, in fact, our third session, as Kamrul explained, and it's been quite a journey to share the insight, the knowledge, and everything that I've learned over my 13 years experience as a professional speaker. I got into public speaking as a professional speaker from the age of 17. And a lot of people often thought it's come very naturally. But if I was to be very honest with you all, I was born or have always been an introvert, those shy, closed off individuals, away from the mass audiences. So the reason behind the Build Your Confidence on Stage in terms of what I do and why I do it is because throughout the campaigns I've traveled around the world, the big issue has been that as much as I'm delivering talks and trying to inspire and educate and empower others, there are those who I've realized are lacking key essential communication skills. And that leads in terms of general public speaking, whether you're presenting and performing for your workplace, you're delivering a session, or even if you're going for an interview for a job, you go into a certain mode of panic, stress, anxiety. And it's about knowing how to overcome these small issues that have a huge weight on our shoulders and huge burden on our shoulders when it comes to performing and presenting with confidence. So this is why I set up the Build Your Confidence on Stage, to encourage people like yourself to improve your psychology, to shift your mindset, to improve your relationship with self-doubt, and learn the exact techniques and the tools and the step-by-step process on how you actually can present better with confidence. Now, this session is the third and final session of the taster sessions that we're offering. And why with this session particularly focuses around the element of the title, confidence. Now, confidence comes from quite a number of factors. In fact, the lack of confidence comes from doubt. Lack of confidence comes from anxiety, being stressed out, and being somebody who has that low level of approach and understanding in terms of wanting to do something, or lacking the belief that they can do something. And I want to talk to you about the essence of when you're presenting and performing on stage, even if it is for example, for a job interview. And I like using job interviews as a great example because many people have experience with it rather than public speaking itself. Let's say you're going in for an interview, you've been shortlisted, and the interviewer phones you up and says, yes, we'd like to interview you for X, Y, and Z. So you're going on there, and the essence of confidence comes in, and trigger modes come in for confidence. And the reason I want to share this through body language, or one of the ways is through body language. And the example I can give is, how do you present yourself, even 2-3 minutes, 4 minutes, maybe 10 minutes before the actual interview itself, or you're presenting on stage? How do you present yourself? Are you somebody who actually does a warm up? Opens your arms out and says, yes, you can do it, you have that ability. Your shoulders are up, you're standing upright straight, you're walking around trying to build momentum, courage. You have your chest out, your stomach, your belly tucked in. Those are images, and those are signs of having a higher posture or good posture of confidence, or a posture that illustrates confidence. Now, there are a lot of us who I know and I've met, especially during my visits across Asia, that people are often quite closed off. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean when you're closed off? You're shrinking. So you're in your interview, you're almost in a quiet sort of spot. You're trying to hide away. There's other interviewees perhaps sitting next to you. You got your feet all sort of crossed away, and you're trying to make yourself feel small. And these are issues that often contribute to how your level of confidence is. When you open yourself up, when your shoulders are high, your chest is out, and your belly is tucked in, you feel a sense of confidence. Your posture is upright, and you're standing and you're walking around. You're showing that essence that, yes, you're feeling confident, even to the point where, even if you have to fake it to be able to gain that sort of momentum, that injection of belief in your mindset, it's important that when it comes to presenting, that you're able to do that, because you then carry that momentum of confidence onto the stage. And when you don't do that, what happens is, when you feel closed off, when you feel quiet, when you feel yourself that there's so much weight on your shoulder, you carry that onto the interview and onto the stage as well with you. And what happens there is, you find it difficult to then open yourself up. You find it difficult to present yourself. And these are the issues that often lead to how confident you are on a certain stage, whether that's performing on stage or whether it's for an interview. And these are just good examples I can share in terms of how to feel more confident. And I think when you're looking into the deeper essence of confidence and trying to understand how much more confident you can be, you look into the essence of how much belief you naturally have in what you do, in your own abilities. Because one of the core things we cover in Build Your Confidence on Stage is the essence of how you understand your own psychology. What are the foundations of understanding your own psychology to be able to create a much more confident version of you, that is able to ask yourself specific questions in order to not necessarily change your approach, but build a better relationship with who you are and what you wish to achieve. Let me give you an example. Now, when you want to present on stage, what are the instant questions that often you ask yourself? Can I do it? Why am I here? Should I even be here? What am I presenting? What is it that I need to accomplish? And you've not done your background sort of research on your audience. You don't know exactly what you're presenting. Or on the flip side, how are you asking these questions to yourself? You know your audience. I know who these are. I know what they want. And I know how I'm going to deliver it. And this is the sort of practice I've done. You're changing the methods of statements in your head from negative questioning to more positive statements that I can do it. It's possible. I will do it. I will stand and I will conquer this stage. So you give yourself a bit of a moment, some momentum, to breathe in, to feel relaxed, to open your arms out. Even when you compare human beings to animals, naturally, when anyone has a sense of openness and confidence, natural confidence inside them, or they're looking to celebrate, they open their arms out and they're like, yes, they've done it. It gives that sense of, I can, I will, and I have conquered whatever it is I need to conquer. But when you have that sense of being closed off, it's a challenge. And I don't want anybody who's listening in right now to feel closed off in whatever environment, because learn to open yourself up slowly, bit by bit, even if you are in a closed space yourself, because these are factors that contribute in how well you present to the people around you, whether it's a small group or even to a large group. And communication skills, presentation, being whether you want to become a public speaker, a professional speaker or not, it's all about having these natural abilities to feel confident to communicate. And when you have these essential qualities in you, these very foundational basic elements, then everything else is pretty much, learning the tools, the techniques, the strategies, and bringing that all into place, because you've got yourself covered, knowing that you are already confident enough to go and deliver whatever it is you need to deliver. Okay. So that's the first element. Now, the second aspect of what I want to cover in today's session is about the speech preparation itself. Now, one of the things when it comes to speech preparation is what I call the triangle formula. Now, the triangle formula looks at it in three levels. You as the speaker, so consider yourself as a speaker on top. You've got the subject and you've got your audience. And one of the important things is before you're even going onto the stage is to know exactly, for example, the connection between you as the speaker and the audience. What do you know about the audience? Who are they? Where are they from? What's their sort of background, their level of knowledge, their level of intellect? Are you teaching them something, or are you sharing information with something that they already know? Or perhaps you have not done enough research and background research on them, so that what you're doing is when you're delivering a session, you're actually not adding value. So these are things you need to consider. So when you're doing background research on the audience, you need to understand exactly the sort of level in which they are, so that when you are presenting, you know exactly how to add value to them. Now think of it from the audience's perspective. The audience, what does the audience know about you? How have you presented yourself, whether that's through to introduce yourself to the MC? Because what is one of the worst things that you can do as a speaker is go on stage and begin your speech, opening up your speech with an introduction. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to open your speech with an introduction saying, "Hi, I'm Sabirul Islam. I'm a motivational speaker. I've gone around the world, so and so, and I want to thank X, Y, and Z for inviting me over to this session." And you see the local counselor there, or the VIP guest there, and you start thanking them for their attendance. You want to ignore and avoid all of that, because that is one of the worst things you can do on stage, because your opening 7 seconds is the way to hook that audience in, right? So that's the thing you have to consider as part of that triangle formula, your relationship with the audience and understanding of the audience before you even get on stage. Now, secondly, it's about you and the subject, the subject in which you're presenting. So as the subject, how much background research have you done on the subject? Are you already considered an expert in that field? If not, why are you presenting? Ask yourself, why are you presenting this topic? Is it because you've been asked to? Is it because you've been forced to? Or is it because you want to? When you're ever presenting on stage, you need to have that ability to feel some form of intrinsic connection between you and your subject. And when you have that, you and your subject, that connection, you are able to perform on stage and exuberate a lot of confidence and echo that to the audience. And that's what the audience wants to feel. They want to feel connected with the whole subject in which you're speaking about, because if you, as the speaker, don't feel in any way connected to what you're presenting, then you're going to give quite a lethargic presentation, a sort of laid back, not so interested. So why should the audience care? Right? So these are important. The triangle formula gives you that understanding that even before you step up onto a stage, know exactly your audience, who they are, their background, where they're from, and know your subject, but also know the interlink between the audience and the subject itself. So how much do they know about the subject, and how much are they aware about it, and are you adding any value? So these are simple questions you do in terms of the background research before you go and speak on stage. The point two about speech preparation is about having a clear objective. Now, what do you want to accomplish? By the end of this speech, what is your call to action? What is it that you want the audience to have taken away? Because a lot of people go up on stage and the big issue they have is they're delivering a presentation, but there is no rhythm, there is no pattern, there is no end goal. And the audience is tuned in, listening to the idea that you're performing, you're presenting, and there should be a takeaway, a call to action. Now, a call to action, a great example is, an easy example is a sales individual. Let's say I was a salesperson and I'm speaking here and I'm going to sell you something. My call to action at the end would be that I'll be promoting my product or service, and you'll be tuned in as to whether you're interested in this or not. So I will deliver it in a way that builds up that momentum, right? If you're somebody who wants the audience to feel a bit of self-satisfaction, you're a motivational speaker, you want them to take away something, for example, change a form of habit. What habits have you described in your presentation, or have you explained through your personal experience that enables them to have a moment of wake up, like a wake up call? So you're allowing them to take something away. You have a call to action in the end, and these are quite important. And the way you're able to build this up is the more clear and the more concise and the more clarity you put in your performance, the easier it is. So how do you put in clearness, clarity? You do this through rehearsals. So the easy question I could throw at each and every one of you right now is, how many of you actually rehearse pre-performance? And a lot of people, you would often be surprised, don't do much rehearsal. They know what they want in terms of A, B, and C. They probably know in terms of what they're going to deliver. But the attempt in rehearsing is quite often, they consider A, time wasting, B, not important, and C, they just don't have the effort and the energy to do that. But the importance of rehearsal is often underestimated, in fact, way underestimated. When you put in time to rehearse, there are various techniques of rehearsal. In fact, as part of the course, which I'll be sharing post this session, we look into rehearsal and the type of rehearsal that you can do to really improve and harness your ability to deliver your message concise and precise to the audience, so that they're able to take away something, the message in which you've worked really hard towards. Now, rehearsals are a key factor. If you don't put in the time, the energy, to know exactly where you'll be on what time of your speech, you know exactly what you'll be saying when, you'll know when to bridge that gap in your presentation with a certain level of improvisation. If you don't know how to do these things and you've not practiced it, then your presentation will be quite dull. It will have a sort of a high beginning with an opening, and then all of a sudden fall away. And you don't want that. You don't want that to happen. So put in that time, put in that effort, so that your clear objective at the beginning, you put in the time and effort through rehearsal, so that the message is clear to the audience. And that's what you want them to take away. Another factor I want to really quickly address is time. In the Asian community, it's a big issue in the Asian community. The whole factor of time. A lot of people listen to TED Talks, right? They have an 18-minute rule. You stick to that 18 minutes. In fact, be 30 seconds less, you're even better. But a lot of people go over. Now, what happens when you are speaking and there's a group of people that need to speak and everybody's been assigned 18 minutes or 20 minutes for their presentation, and it's only a 1-hour session? So 3 individuals, they've all been assigned 20 minutes to speak, and that becomes the hour main keynote speeches, right? And you as the speaker are delivering your talk, you think you've got all that buzz, that energy, that hype in your presentation, the audience is loving it, but you're speaking for 25, 30 minutes, 32 minutes. And you've crept in and eaten away another speaker's time. So these are things you need to consider. So this is why rehearsals is important. So when you want to manage your time on stage, it's always important to look in terms of how much time it takes for you to go from start to finish in your presentation. Doesn't mean you rush it. If you have to take away a chunk of your presentation, this whole idea we talked about in one of the previous sessions about storyboarding. Storyboarding allows you to look into segments of your talk. So when you break down a 20-minute talk, what is it? Just one long story you're telling, or is it a series of stories? If it's a series of stories, can you take out story number 3? If you take out story number 3, can you connect the whole speech with story number 2 and 4? Because you might be on the opposite end where another speaker has overspoken for quite some time, and you need to make up that gap of let's say you got, instead of your 20 minutes, you got now 15 minutes, but your speech, you've done your rehearsals and it lasts 20 minutes long. So you need to be able to think on the spot. And this is where improvisation comes in. The whole element of improvisation is learning to be able to agree with the situation in which you're in, but having the flexibility to be able to adapt and make changes where necessary. And a lot of speakers, when it comes to the professional industry or not, or whether you're speaking up for the first time, they have issues with this because they are so tuned in to sticking with their time frame, or if not exceeding their time frame, that they don't know how to make a speech shorter. So I think of it through that storyboarding message and that storyboarding method, in which you're able to look at segments of your talk. And if you need to take away 2, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes of your speech, which segments can you still take out, and and does it still make sense? When you combine this story without that segment, does it still make sense? If it doesn't, then the element of improvisation comes in. How can you bridge those 2 segments of your speech with a form of improvisation that allows you to connect the dots? You see? So all of this goes down to managing time on stage, learning how to rehearse, and having a clear objective as to what you want the audience to take away. So public speaking or professional, if you want to become a professional speaker, all of these are factors. And a lot of people, when you think about it, don't often see it that way. Speaking is just having a speech ready and going and presenting. But there's a lot of back end to that. Any sort of business, any sort of industry, as much of the presentation is the face of it, the performance under the spotlight, the wow factor, everybody has to do background work behind it. Whether you're watching a theater play, a cinema, there's all these things that happen before the actual movie is going on to the cinema screen, right? So it's exactly like that as a presenter, as a performer. So what you don't want to be doing is be that person who's on stage winging it. And that's the worst thing you can do. So I've seen too many speakers who go on there trying to wing it, and they get lost in their direction. And you so want to avoid that, because that gives a really bad impression of you, especially if you're trying to build up credibility. And credibility is a big factor in the industry, because when you specialize in a subject, because I know a lot of people have great experience in very niche subjects, and these niches is a great way of actually selling, in terms of having a unique audience for that specific niche, because there's very limited number of people who actually talk about that. And if you are somebody in that niche, make sure that you're able to have enough to talk about, so that you're able to present in a much more structured manner going forward. And there's too many people who try to wing it, in that sense that, yeah, they may be speaking about a niche, but they think they're so well expert, that they're an expert in that they can just go and talk without a formal structure. You need a formal structure in a presentation. And these are key things. And I hope that you're taking away these important messages, because the importance behind why I'm sharing with this whole confidence factor, that being open, being expressive, having that, even to the point where, people often say that fake it till you make it doesn't work. But I'm not telling you to fake it till you make it. I'm telling you to fake the idea of being confident 5 minutes before you're actually presenting, because you need to be confident, right? Being confident on stage, without being confident on stage, you will struggle, you will fall, you will falter, you'll make mistakes. And often the fear that lies there is that when you do make a mistake, there's eyes glued on you. And look how scary that looks. If an eye is glued on you and you've made a mistake, it is quite daunting, and it puts you off, and you want to get off stage as soon as possible. So how can you make sure that you have that level of confidence, so when you do make a mistake, that is not seen as a mistake? You yourself can laugh it off in your head and carry on as normal. Because honestly, I've made mistakes too. All speakers make mistakes, but you shouldn't make it seem as if the world has come shattering down on you on stage. And these are things that are important lessons, small lessons you're able to take away, that help you harness and build your confidence, so that you're able to perform better. And I really want to be talking about one important thing. The whole idea behind Build Your Confidence on Stage isn't just about helping you understand the psychology behind it. There's also principles. The public speaking industry has certain principles in terms of disciplines, how you shape up the mindset of what it takes to become an actual speaker. So I know some of you listening will perhaps, have already spoken on stage, have already had some experience, or perhaps even you're just looking to step up into your first role in public speaking. But how do you turn that aspiration into becoming professional? So what are the processes you need to do? So the idea behind Build Your Confidence on Stage is to really take individuals on that sort of learning journey process, so that you're not just an individual who has confidence to present and that's it. some people often want to take that one step further. You've done 10, 20, 30, 40 presentations. How do you start earning from that, right? So the Build Your Confidence is that sort of learning journey. And there's in fact a YouTube channel which I have called Build Your Confidence on Stage. So www.youtube.com/Build Your Confidence on Stage. And you'll see weekly shows that I actually share tips and guidance on public speaking, various small subjects, whether it's things like managing time on stage, whether it's things like speech preparation, just basic elements, foundational level elements, which I share with individuals. But what I do is also work with the CoachKamrul Hasan network to also create an essential course that can help you take you on that journey. So if you're on that foundational element, there's and you're looking to step up into the world of public speaking, or you're looking to present for the first time, we have a course upcoming called the 4-Step Strategy to Becoming a Fearless Public Speaker. So the 4-step strategy, what I talk about in these are broken down into 4 sessions. So the first session looks into the speaker's psychology, the mindset, because what I want you to become and what I want you to take away from becoming a public speaker is to learn how to build that confidence and to overcome fear, overcome anxiety, learn how to develop a speaker's mindset so that you're able to present with confidence. Me expressing earlier on that being open, being your body being open, having that sort of approach is just one technique of learning how to be confident, but that doesn't necessarily make you 100% confident to regularly perform. So how do you change that mentality and how do you change that approach so you improve your relationship with self-doubt? So we go right into the heart of the deep end in terms of not just public speaking, but anything in general in terms of shaping confidence. And that's a 1-hour session. The first session is an hour session, which we deliver. The second session looks into the roots and shapes that shape an effective speaker. And that too is an hour session. And what that does is looks into the speaker discipline, the mindset, what the industry expects of you. Let's say you've been booked by a speaker, or even your boss has asked you to speak at a presentation. What are the expectations and how do you manage expectations from the organizer's perspective, from your manager's perspective, but also from the audience's perspective? There are 3 levels of expectations. So learning to be able to adapt to all 3 so that you're performing not just with confidence, but with a balanced structure, knowing that you're making each and every segment of the industry, the boss, the audience happy in how you're delivering. Because the last thing you want to do is deliver a performance where they're not satisfied by who you are and what you're delivering, and you then lose credibility. And that's the worst thing you can do. And that's an hour session. And the third session looks into the 4 strategies. And we'll go deep into that. So the 1.5, that'll be an hour and a half session, the third session. And what this does is looks into, for example, how you're able to produce content. So we're looking into how you're able to do your opening, your closing in a lot more detail. You'll also learn about the rehearsal techniques that's involved within public speaking, so that you're able to have your content, know it inside out, and know exactly how to improvise and when to bridge that gap. There's also talking about, one of the strategies talks about engagement, how to engage with the audience so you're not just a monotonic speaker on stage, which a lot of people tend to be, but you also have the ability to communicate with your audience and get them involved in your presentation and in your performance as well. And the fourth looks into delivery, the style of delivery. We look at various different techniques and style of delivery. And this is a 1.5 hour session where I take you on this learning journey. And that's the third session. And these 3 sessions are generally open to everybody. So anybody who wants to really harness their public speaking skills and learn to become a fearless speaker, please do register for that course. It's open to anybody and everybody who wants to improve their presentation skills. Now, the 4th session is a little more restricted. So what happened in the 4th session is that there'll be a one-to-one coaching. So if you're interested in one-to-one coaching as part of your learning journey, so you will undergo the 3 sessions just like everybody else, but the 4th session is for a limited group of people where I'll be delivering 30-minute one-to-one coaching sessions where you'll be assigned specific tasks in the 3rd session and which you'll have to then be able to present, and we will able to I'll give you feedback exactly on what you need to improve on and how to go forward. So I'll know exactly where you are in what stage of your development as a public speaker, so that you can harness your ability to speak with confidence, perform with the ability to deliver a show-stopping performance, but also at the end of the day become a fearless speaker. So this is in fact what the Build Your Confidence on Stage is working with as part of the 4-step strategy to becoming a fearless speaker with the CoachKamrul Hasan network. So if you are interested in this session, the link will be shared with everybody who has been tuned into this session, and this will be done through the CoachKamrul Hasan network, who is taking the responsibilities of organizing these sessions. So remember, there's 2 segments. One is the 3 sessions for everybody, and then there's a 4th session for selected group of people who want that one-to-one coaching, which you'll have 30 minutes of my time in actually going and looking into how you actually perform, how you actually deliver, and what you need to improve on, so I can give you honest, opinionated feedback so you can improve your skills as a public speaker. Remember, I've got 13 years experience as a professional speaker. I've spoken in 31 countries around the world, in Africa, Asia, Latin America, across Europe, to really harness public speaking and empower others to do the same. And the Build Your Confidence on Stage is a platform, is a program to help you encourage to become much more stronger, potent, powerful performers and presenters on stage. So if you have any questions, I think we've come to the end of our session. If you have any questions in regards to public speaking, in regards to what we've discussed in this session, in regards to the coaching sessions, or the becoming a fearless public speaker, the 4-step strategy, becoming a fearless coach, public speaker session, the 3 sessions, please do ask away. I'm happy to assist, I'm happy to guide, and I'm happy to share more information on that. And I think that covers today's session. So I'll hand it back to you now, Coach Kamrul Hasan.
Fantastic. So that's amazing. So it was really wonderful, and I hope that I think there are a lot of values, I think, into this 3 sessions itself delivered, and I'm looking forward to have now questions and comments from our audience. I see a lot of people are watching, so if any questions, and I think we're happy to answer those. And this course description would be available into our website, ckhnetwork.com. You see on this screen now, right? Not .com/PSTC. So you will see the course description that Sabirul just described, and definitely this portion also would be available. The description portion itself, and this video also available in YouTube right now, and streamed live, and reach us the question that you have right now. So we are here next 10 minutes to answer some of your questions, comments that you have. So let me see. Azin Oshan saying fantastic session. Shakib and Dawood Hussein, if you have any questions, just do let us know. In the meantime, I also can talk with Sabirul that in today's world, Sabirul, how important it is to find our place, to to be heard, to be seen, and to create an impact, because everybody wants to be heard and seen. How important it is.
That's very much to do with identity and presence. Because anyway, in whatever industry you're in, whether you're working for an organization, whether you are already, you're self-employed and you're trying to set up your own business, everybody needs to have a presence. And to create presence, without presence, in fact, you don't have that necessary appeal. If let's say you're working for an organization, let's say that has 20, 30 people, and you're that very quiet individual who just gets on with their day, and you want to be that person, fine. But if you want to accelerate your growth in that organization, and you want to go up and become much more in much more bigger roles, you need to make yourself visible to everybody else. Your manager has to be aware in terms of what you're doing. You need to stand out, and all of this comes down to credibility and actions you do over the course of a specific period of time. It's not an overnight success. And one of the foundations that comes from that is first building confidence in your own ability to be able to make yourself more visible, but also being able to improve your communication skills so people are aware that you exist. Because a lot of people, in fact, majority of the world struggle when it comes to communicating, not necessarily having a conversation with family, friends. They do that each and every day. But when it's somebody who you don't know, how do you have that communication? How do you build up a topic of discussion that's important, that resonates not just with you, but also with the person tuned in and listening, so that you can have a free-flowing conversation? And all of this takes a lot of character developing. All of this takes a lot of personality and adjusting personality as well. well. So the Build Your Confidence on Stage really looks into how you're able to shape that initial psychology process of it, in terms of making sure that you not only have confidence, you not only shape the mindset, but you also adjust personality to become a much more fluent individual, to create presence. And when you're able to do that, you've then conquered first step one. You're fully aware in terms of who you are, what you want, where you want to go, and what you need to do. Then it's about having that formula in place to actually get there. So we take, that's what the whole idea even behind this first sort of steps in this course to becoming a fearless speaker, that we take individuals on this journey so that they can improve that mindset, because nothing works without a strong mindset and a strong psychological process, because the brain is a very strange sort of thing we have within us when we don't function and utilize it to the maximum, and we cannot, but to the point where how much of it can we actually do. So we try to figure that process out in terms of where you are and where you can go. So it's interesting, and I think it gets people to realize and more importantly wake up in terms of the credibility and in terms of the potential that they have. And I think a lot of people would be surprised in terms of the change that you see them go through over the course of maybe the 3-4 hours of this session, or even on a longer term when they actually do put it into practice. And they'll come back and say, actually, it's because of this moment that we've actually had an eye-opener. And I think even yourself are a great example, Coach Kamrul, is that the fact that, I remember you telling in the first or second session that you attended one of my sessions in the Inspire 1 Million, and it was an eye-opener for you. That question, when you leave this world, what will you be remembered for? And that was an eye-opener for you to go and do your things, for you to actually go and become a coach, to learn the foundations of it, to improve the psychology. And now you've got the CoachKamrul Hasan network running. You see, small things play a huge aspect and a huge role in making change. So to have visibility, to have presence, to have a reputation, all of that initially all starts with having the ability to feel confident and be confident in your own self.
Thank you, Sabirul. I want to show you one piece of paper. Can you recognize it? It's 2013. In the year 2013, on that same auditorium, Prothamal auditorium, this has been distributed among the participants. This paper has been distributed. So it's yours in 2013. So when you came to Dhaka, Bangladesh, I got this paper, and I have preserved it. And it's still with me. It's 7 years back.
It's great memories, and I'm glad that you still have this. I kept a record of every sheet of paper, newspaper that had promoting the Inspire 1 Million, and I think for a lot of people it made a huge impact, huge difference. And I think that tour was a great lesson for a lot of people in terms of motivating, in terms of inspiring. And the whole idea is just motivation, inspiration takes you to a certain distance in life. And that's when I realized that actually I need to do a lot more than just motivate and inspire. I need to also educate. I need to also guide people, take them on that learning journey. And if I can take people on that learning journey, what they then realize is that there is a step-by-step process in how they can actually implement these sort of changes to go and do these and put these into practice in their own life, which is why I set up Build Your Confidence on Stage, because I'm really passionate about public speaking. A lot of people, in fact, whenever I did deliver an Inspire 1 Million talk, people either wanted to become speakers, become writers, because I wrote and published my own book, or they wanted to become entrepreneurs, because that's how I got my career started. So all of these things, because they try to emulate you. And I'm not saying people to emulate who I am or what I do, but I'm saying find your own strength. Find your own qualities, but discover that through models that exist and the people who are trying to support you. So be part of that. Be part of that community and be a part of that movement.
One last question to you, and that is on behalf of the community. That is, everybody wants to improve, like their position, and if it is a student or they're working, it doesn't matter. Everybody wants to be promoted faster. Everybody wants to have the increment and elevation into their career, in the business, and every aspect. Tell us the importance of speaking in terms of the career growth and progression. We know that there are certain skills that we also need to acquire. We call them soft skill, life skills. So public speaking alone, how it plays to elevate the career in terms of growth, the possibilities, the faster progression, the journey makes quicker. So what's your experience about it?
you hit the nail on the head when you said soft skills, because communication skills. So public speaking falls under the communication skills, having the ability to not just have a conversation, but being able to present, being able to showcase exactly what you do, why you do, and how you do it. And so when you're trying to accelerate the growth in your career, whether that is within the organization, whether that's in your own business, whether that people have to be aware that you exist. And I covered that in the previous sort of question, that you need to be able to present yourself in well. So you've got all these social media platforms. You've got all these, for example, YouTube. You've got Twitter. You've got LinkedIn. All of these things that allow you to tell your story, allow you to present yourself. So communication becomes a big factor in that, whether it's through a message, whether it's through an image, whether it's through a short, even on TikTok, whether you're sharing a small clip of yourself doing something, you're expressing who you are, and perhaps the funny side of you. So people want to know, or people need to know who you are and what you represent in a professional setting and outside of the professional world as well, so they can get to see the character that you hold. And when you combine these two elements together, you're giving the image of the real you, who you are, your personality, your style, your approach, and you need to be likable. And if you want somebody who is likable, the only way you can present that you're likable is when you know how to talk to people, in whether you're a humble individual, whether you're an open, expressive individual. You just have to exude great personality. And what this is contagious. If somebody who's looking to recruit, if somebody who's looking to book you as a speaker, they need to like you for who you are. They need to like you for what you also talk about. But the thing is, first impressions are a great example, both for a job interview, but also for the speaking industry. Let's say you're trying to speak at an event and nobody knows who you are, right? Everybody will have a first impression of you no matter what, whether it's reading through a leaflet or through the document in which you had in your hand when you read about me, or whether it's through a newspaper or whatever they've read, or even if they see you at the event for the very first time. They don't know who you are, they don't know what you're going to present, but they have an impression of who you are straight away. That's perhaps through your dress code, through how your body language is, and all of these plays a part. So sometimes when they say you don't have a second chance to make a first impression, well, as a speaker, you do. Because when you make their first impression of you is through what they read. But their first impression of you when you start speaking is a whole new experience. Because if you're able to open a speech with a bang, and you're able to open a speech that really blows that first impression they had from what they've read on a piece of paper, you're able to buy in. You're able to get their buy-in, and you've already landed their heart. You've already won them through your personality, through what you're saying. So these are very important factors in terms of how you show character and how you show discipline. And these are qualities that you need. So the communication skill is so important, and it is so underestimated by a lot of people, and it's not taken as serious, because if you don't have solid communication skills as your foundational elements of growth, as one of your life skills, then you're going to fall behind in whatever element of life. And I say to people, even in this session, I said I'm an introvert. It was a challenge for me to be able to speak in front of a large group of audience. But I learned to do that when I was able to find exactly what were. So I kept myself hidden away and thinking exactly what I wanted to do, giving myself time and space to create a picture of where I want to go, what I want to do, and create that through a story. And that's the story I started telling when I was on stage, no matter how nervous I was, because I knew it was about me. And there would be people who appreciate that. There'll be people who buy into that, and they get to see the real me. And that through practical experience gave me confidence to be able to become a professional speaker. And 13 years down the line, I'm presenting and speaking to an audience, a virtual audience, and who I want to bring on board and teach and educate and train on how they could do the same. So you see, there's a journey, there's a pattern, and all of that is through communication.
Absolutely, it's fantabulous. Let me also bring some of the comments. If I could have on the screen some of the comments people are saying, like Sumail Ahmed saying, excellent discuss. Wow, that's awesome session. Let's bring some of the comments as we wrapping up. And Ushan had Iqbali Rasul, you're saying you're absolutely outstanding, Sabirul, and really honored to make your acquaintance.
Thank you.
Can you have that screen? So Mr. Iqbali Rasul is a university teacher. He's also teaching the communication in Asian University of Women, one of the international university in Bangladesh, taught in and US curriculum, the International University in Bangladesh, named Asian University of Women. So that's somebody who's teaching the communication for international student is commenting you. Really honored to
Thank
get
you very
your
much, Iqbal, for your great and outstanding comment. It's highly appreciated, honored, very well respected, and yeah. So and it's just an absolute pleasure. And I think a lot of people who are passionate about communication, just like Iqbal is, in terms of how to share and to teach. I think I do that exact same, and I think communication, as I say, it's a foundation, it's an element in which you need to share and encourage other people to grow. So I really am honored by your quote and
So
comment.
one of the question, I think you have already answered it. How would we become fluent speaker? And you already said it. It's through practice, practice, and practice. A lot of time we actually plan, but we write a script, but we don't practice it. How are you going to deliver it? That's what you have said it, because that's a mistake we make. We don't practice it beforehand, because there is no alternate. I mean, to become a fluent speaker. So if you want to add anything to
There
this
is no
question.
overnight solution to that, but again, yes, you're right, Kamrul. It's all about the practice that goes into it. Even as part of the how to become a fearless speaker, that the session that we're doing, on the third session we look into both opening, closing. We look into the rehearsal technique, and then it falls under that rehearsal technique in how to become more fluent as a speaker. So there are techniques that are involved in terms of making sure that you're able to present more effectively, you're able to present more confidently, and all of this is done backstage. All of this is done before you even step up in front of an audience, in front of your manager, in front of a jobs board or an interviewer. All of these things are done behind the scenes. So how do you do these level of practice, and what are the practices that you need to have in place to be able to get there and to become a fluent speaker? We actually deliver that as part of the how to overcome your fear and anxiety, so that and become a fearless speaker, as part of that session. So do sign up, and I think it's a great opportunity for you to actually get to learn these tools and techniques, and it's an opportunity for you to actually learn those 4 strategies that are involved.
Absolutely. So people often say is that practice makes a man perfect, but nowadays is actually right practice makes a man perfect. Without doing right practice, using the right tools, techniques, methodologies, is not going to take you there. Maybe it will, but it might take 10 times more time. But as you rightly said, the tools, techniques, and you got to have a process, systematic process, actually, how to train your brain, how to train your mind, actually, what you want to depict, through the conversation, through, impact that you want to create. Have you ever seen that inside your mind before you go to the speech? And you got to practice it beforehand. And unless you see it, you can't practice it also. You see, there are so many techniques, psychological tools, the neuro tools, brain science tools, that, you got to do it beforehand to overcome even the fear, overcome even, how to create that image inside mind. So if you can add something with this, and then we can close this with this invitation from you tonight. It's been amazing to have all these 3 tester sessions, and we are really looking forward to creating impact through right practice to make a perfect communicator, a confident communicator. Sabirul.
Just to wrap up, exactly, to say that to become to work towards perfection, I think it's a more easier way to say it, because perfection comes at a time when there is no other alternative solution. And I think trying to aim towards perfection is okay, but I think what you want to do is learn to harness and improve as you're going along, because there's always room for improvement. And that's a mentality you have, because nobody at the end of the day will become perfect. But what you need to understand is that what we're offering through the 4 strategies is learning simple things. For example, producing content. How do you produce effective content that is able to reach your audience, to get your audience buy-in, that it resonates with your audience, to learn exactly the ways in which to open a speech that can land your audience's attention right from the offset. But more importantly, when you're able to close your speech itself, in terms of how you leave yourself memorable and unforgettable before you even get off stage. And the whole idea is behind the rehearsal techniques, the engagements, to make yourself feel that you are a part of their experience. And it's not just you going on stage, having your 15-20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, and then saying goodbye, because that's the worst thing you can do. And making sure that you know all the tools, the techniques that are involved through the delivery process. So we take you on this learning journey. And why I love to call it a learning journey, because life and learning is a journey. It's not something you do overnight. It doesn't happen miraculously. And people always think there's a quick fix. I'm not telling you this is a quick fix. I'm telling you this is for you to be able to learn the tools, the strategies, so that you're able to figure it out for yourself, what works for you, and so that you know exactly if you need to fall back on something, you've got the tools, the techniques, and the resources there to be able to provide you that elevation for that next presentation. So do join us for the 4 strategies on how to become a fearless public speaker sessions. There's 3 sessions for everybody, and the 4th session is a one-to-one coaching session with myself, 30 minutes, which you'll have where you'll actually be performing in front, and I'll be able to give you feedback on exactly how you perform, so you know exactly what you need to improve on and how to accelerate your growth as a much more effective speaker.
Thank you so much, Sabirul, and thank you everyone who has just been with us during the last 3 weeks with this tester class. I think you have got the soup tested and how it tastes, how it looks like, and how it's gonna be being with, present in these sessions. So without further delay, thank you everyone. I think a lot of people has joined with us, watching us, and will be watching further. Everyone invited to join with us in the practical sessions and classes. Thanks, and please take care. And this is what the founder of CKH Network, CoachKamrul Hasan, signing off. And Sabirul Islam, thank you so much for being with us and contributing towards the community to learn something practically. And you have added so much value only even of those 3 sessions itself. And I can't thank you enough. Only looking forward.
Thank you very much, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you all in the sessions to come. Okay, take care.
Stay well, stay safe, and may
Bye-bye.
God bless all of us. Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.